You are live. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Landon should probably pull up the YouTube to see if this is live or not, because I think it is, but I'm also not entirely sure. Welcome
Hey,
to Conversation Mode Live.
this is a tech demo, so
This is a
it's,
tech. This is
it's a lot
like
of weight on my shoulders pulling up a YouTube. I don't know if I can handle that.
there's nobody here. Let's see. Oh, look at that. Oh, we're here. Look at that. We're here. I pulled this up.
Refresh my screen. Okay, so I'm on our YouTube. Oh, here we go, live.
Look at that. We're here. So
there's like a weird lag though.
Yes, there is a weird lag. There's always a weird lag. But yeah, this is a tech demo because we were trying. Awesome. We were testing.
It's exciting.
We're testing this shit out. Welcome. I'm gonna make this screen better so that when I'm talking to the camera, I am not going to be looking away from the camera when I do.
We have 9 subscribers to our YouTube channel. That's pretty awesome.
Yes.
I'm like 9.
I'm like 2 of I'm like 2 of them.
I'm probably at least 1. My channel that I never use.
But so we're coming back. This is the plan, folks. We are gonna be coming back. I think next week will be the official first.
Our launch date.
Official first episode. One of the things that we have, not a lot of you know, this is going to be on the channel. So like, if people end up watching, they'll hear us kind of commentate and talk about this stuff. But obviously we've been gone. We've been on hiatus. A lot of it had to do with me. New job, the craziness of that job kind of taking over my life, and then new job again, and figuring out and moving and figuring out all of that stuff. I stopped having fun with this, and Landon and I had a conversation. Actually, it was kind of a forced conversation because none of you know this. I don't know if we even talked about it when we did the episode, but there was an episode a couple
the last one that we tried to record and upload.
The last one that we
was a disaster.
Folks, it was a disaster because I didn't hit the record button in like 30 minutes in. I'm trying to see I'm trying to see pulling it up on another device.
I can hardly remember like what the topic even was. I think it was I remember that whatever our discussion was, it was really solid. It was like a really good episode too. Like we
were in it. Like it was such a good conversation and such a good episode. And then I realized 30 to 40 minutes into the episode that I hadn't hit the record button.
Oh my gosh, our morale plummeted.
It stuck a needle into the balloon that was our show. But it also did it did a couple of things for us, which I'm actually happy about at the end of the day. It did 2 things. It did 1, it made me really realize that I really didn't want to keep having to hit the record button and edit this thing after the fact. Which then, fast forward to now, is why when Landon and I were talking about bringing the show back, I said I want to do it live. Mainly because I don't want to edit.
I'm cool with it.
We're both editors in our day job.
Listen, when you edit for a living, editing on the side,
and I love it. Don't get me wrong, I love it, but it didn't facilitate what I wanted to facilitate. When
it didn't spark joy.
Yeah, exactly. When I wanted to make the video transition, when I wanted to take the podcast from audio only, how I started this whole thing, to video, I wanted it to feel like a stream, and that's one of the reasons that I had thought about doing a stream, but I wasn't fully versed in like how I wanted to do that. And so that's why we started.
Yeah, we weren't ready for it yet. We weren't ready for the live component.
So that's why we started, with that's why we started this. I don't know. Hold on. I need to see. Do we have how many? Are you watching this right now?
Yeah, I'm actually struggling with.
You are watching it.
I'm looking over at the live stream.
Well, because I'm looking at. I see the
right?
one viewer.
Whoa, we have one viewer. Oh, that's probably me. I am watching it.
It says live viewers, comics a la mode.
I can comment. Let me just comment on this real quick because I'm on my personal channel.
Oh, got you.
There we go.
So yeah, so I wasn't capable, or I didn't have a game plan of what I wanted to do when we went video.
And you know what? We were both entering a season of life that we just didn't really have the time anymore. I've gotten more and more busy as time has gone on. When was that? Was that earlier this year, or was that last year? I can't even remember when that
was last year. I'm gonna go.
Yeah,
I'm going right now to the channel.
Our
last episode was 10 months ago. Actually, a funny story. Actually, now that I think about it,
sounds about right.
Now that I think about it, I don't know if I ever ended up uploading that last episode.
Well, we didn't record it, did we?
No, we did, because we got like 30 minutes in, realized it wasn't recorded, so then we started recording again, and then we got like an hour in and ended. But then that's when I was like, dude, I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah, and then we probably stopped.
And so
I noticed too just now you spelled Ahsoka wrong. You didn't include the H.
I'll fix it. It's not that big of a deal. Here, I'll fix it
right now. This is
definitely
a tech test.
Guys, this is a tech, like the zero people in this right now. We haven't even we didn't put this out on Twitter. So there's a couple things. I'm mainly doing this.
Actually, will this go out? Will this go out anywhere? Oh, okay. Yeah. That's cool.
So this is a tech test / the video to explain where we've been and why we haven't been. And I don't even care if anybody listens to this or not, because we'll talk about Ahsoka again, next week.
This is like a behind the scenes real look.
Exactly.
Exactly.
I've texted like one person about this.
From here, we can only go up, right? That's the mentality.
And so we are gonna be live moving forward. We're gonna be on Mondays as well. It'll be a Monday night stream. We want this to very much feel like, hey, crack open a beer, come hang out with us. Let's talk movies. Let's talk TV. Let's talk comics. Let's just nerd out. Yeah, but
we're gonna have more structure to it too.
To that, yeah, exactly. To that point, we're gonna structure this a little bit more, because that was also one of the things that I've kind of felt, is that we've kind of been floundering a little bit when I first started the podcast. Like, we had tried to do some structure, and we were not good at staying to it. And that's why, if you look at any of the episodes prior to Landon coming on, there's some that are like 2 hours long, because we were just nerding out, and like sometimes at that point too, because of the job that I had at the time, I had that time, so that at some point we were just like, fuck it, or screw it. That's the other thing.
That's another thing. We're not cussing anymore.
Yeah, that's another thing, is I'm working on corralling my mouth.
We're gonna get a RUSS swear jar going.
honestly, we should we'll just have like a tally system, and like I'll have to like upload a video of like me doing push-ups, or like for every accidental cussing, I have to do like 20 push-ups.
Now, if I start cussing, something's really wrong, or something really went bad. Like if we have a really bad episode, if Ahsoka ends and it's just a total screw you to everything and everybody and George Lucas, then like Landon will be at the bottom.
Yeah, yeah.
Things.
Exactly.
Yeah,
so
we're doing things differently this time around.
We're doing things a little differently. One of the things too, so because of job, where my like what kind of different job stuff I've been doing, one of the things that I have really started to do a lot more is be more active on Twitter. So that's one of the things that we're gonna start trying to do more of, is be more active on the social medias.
Hey, we got two watching now.
I'm actually, yes. Hi.
Oh, you're on too?
Well, no. One of my friends, she is on. I texted her, so she is on as well. So, hi, Dev. So
I don't know what's going on, but my quality just like plummeted.
You look on the stream or on StreamYard? Which one?
Both. Well, StreamYard seems to be back, but for a second there, you were like really wonky.
Oh yeah.
And now, now the live stream is back too.
Yeah.
And but that was weird. For a second, it was just like crazy.
Yeah. So that's the other thing. Like for some reason, because this is a free version of StreamYard, we're only outputting at 720. And so we'll do this for a little bit.
To pay for the actual thing?
I'll probably want to pay for it. That way we can add our logo to the screen. Yeah.
I was gonna say we got 3 watching now. I was about to say, before the tech weirdness happened, we had 2 and now we have 3. Oh, now we're back to 2. Gotta love it. Are you watching the live stream as well?
No, I'm definitely not.
I'm one of the people. So we got somebody out there. One of the faithful 9.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, so we're gonna try to be more, we're gonna try to be more active on social media. Go follow the Twitter, go follow Landon and I both on Twitter. I'm gonna be updating the description with Landon's Twitter, because all I have is his Instagram, but now that we're following each other on Twitter, I'm gonna do that.
We're already active.
Yeah, we're active. We've been
tweet out there last week.
Yeah, we've been doing a little bit. I'm much more active on my Twitter. So what we're gonna start doing is Comics a la Mode's Twitter we will tweet stuff out from it, but a lot of it will be to Landon and I tweeting ourselves and then reposting it on the Comics a la Mode Twitter. News that we find interesting, also all of that kind of stuff. So we will we're going to be doing a little bit more of that. I'm also going to relinquish some control, mainly because I didn't know what I wanted to do with a lot of this. And so Landon and I are going to share a little bit more of the pot so that I don't feel like I'm overwhelmed all the time.
We're moving over to Twitter big time. Like, we didn't even have a Twitter up last time we did this, so that's new.
Well, actually, I've had a Twitter. I've had a Comics a la Mode Twitter from the very beginning. We started it right in the beginning, but we hadn't posted on it ever.
There's the change. We're going to start being active on it.
Exactly.
What else? TikTok. We're going to be doing.
We're going to do some shorts on TikTok, on YouTube, on Instagram,
all the trendy stuff,
Instagram Reels. That's also why this setup, the way you see our cameras now, it makes our editing lives so much easier when we're trying to do TikToks, because then I can get right up in your face, and it's still 9 by 16. Because that was always the issue when I was trying to like edit stuff.
It's all about the ease in the post-production side of things.
Exactly. Because at the end of the day,
makes this an easier process.
At the end of the day, this podcast was always started not because I'm trying to get famous off of a comic book podcast. I'm not trying to become like, neither of us are really trying to become like entertainment. Like think of any of the TikTokers that do like, comic book, movie, all that stuff. Think of any of them. We're not trying to be that. We're just, honestly, at the end of the day, we want to have fun, and we want to give people a space to be like, hey, you know what? It has been a week or it has been a day, and all I want to do is come veg out and talk. That's the other thing too, is like that's a nice thing about being live, is we want to hopefully, as we start gaining a community, y'all can talk to us, because that's one of the things as we start having a little bit more structure. We're going to allow for opportunities where if you guys have thoughts and are chiming into the conversation, we want to chime back.
Yeah, we got the YouTube chat comment section. I guess that's where people are going to be talking, right?
Exactly. So that's the nice thing about that too.
And X. Does Twitter have a live chat function as well?
Does.
Or
it does.
Okay. Should one of us? My question is, should one of us like have the live streams pulled up while we do this?
Oh yeah. When we do this, for sure, I will at least have both pulled up on my computer. You can have both pulled up on yours. There's a good chance that I'll probably end up doing is having the Twitter pulled up on my phone, and then the YouTube pulled up on my other screen. But yeah, so that's just kind of
the live stream looks like on Twitter.
We're not live on Twitter.
Oh, we're not. Okay, that makes sense
because we can't multi-stream. We can't multi-stream until we're paying for the.
Okay, we're not paying yet. Gotcha. All right, it's all coming together. It's all making sense.
We'll do a couple. Like, I have no problem like not paying for a couple episodes, getting in the rhythm of things, and then then we can. Because that's the other thing is at some point I want to probably pay for the blue check mark, just so that we're verified on Twitter too. We'll see. Anyways, but yeah, so that's the long and short of everything going on here. Since we are here, I have been playing Starfield a lot. And wow, what a game. There's a little bit of controversy when it came out, because when you're in the character creation, Starfield, of course, added pronouns.
I saw that guy. There's an English gentleman's absolute meltdown. Clip. It's so funny.
And like, I get it. That's the other thing that we wanted to do a little bit more of, is like, when we're talking about a lot of these things, there's gonna be some IPs and properties that we dig deep into and do like our old thing. Ahsoka's probably going to be one of them, because we're both just big ass nerds when it comes to Ahsoka.
That will be a scenario where I'm going to have to pull back a little bit. I have so many thoughts and theories about Ahsoka.
So, but with the Starfield drama, I get the pronouns thing. I put a tweet out because I was responding to one of my friends, which actually nobody's going to see this right now, so it is what it is. But
at what stage of the game does this actually pop up, like the character creation side of things? I've not played too many Bethesda games.
It's the character creation. That's when it pops up.
Yeah. So it's not like you're playing the game and then it's like it's your starting point.
Exactly. Y'all should go to Twitter and go leave the Screen Rebel follow. It is one of my buddies that is starting to get that that account up and running. It is going to be
drop a follow. What's his name?
The Screen Rebel. It is a conservative. He's doing like a conservative nerd culture Twitter. And hopefully it gets up off the ground.
He's got a pinned tweet. AI won't replace artists. That sound like him?
I think so. But yeah, so go leave the Screen Rebel a follow.
Shout out Screen Rebel. I just dropped him a follow. So
yeah, hell yeah. So anyways, I was talking to, because one of the things that I love about Starfield is it's in space, obviously. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of options and opportunities with Starfield being in space. One of the cool things about Starfield is that it does
highly immersive.
It's highly immersive, but it is a space that is in between NASA and Star Trek. Like it's not fully polished as like Star Trek, like space in Star Trek is not like space. Star Trek has always been space is so polished and everything. Oh, my camera just decided that it. Anyways,
I had one of those earlier. Yeah,
but so it's much more down to earth, you know,
right?
And
more
that's
industrial feeling.
Much more.
Kind of
the way I like to put it is like it feels more like Oblivion than Christopher Nolan's Space Odyssey. What was it called?
Interstellar.
Interstellar.
Are you talking about Oblivion with Tom Cruise?
Oblivion with Tom Cruise. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I never saw that one, but I know it's got a very distinct visual style.
Yeah, it feels more Oblivion than it does Interstellar. And so it's a lot of fun. But my kind of point in the tweet was that the problem right now with gender politics and race politics and all of that fun stuff going on right now in the world is that it is very rooted in the day we're in right now. It's very rooted in today. So when you put it in a game, in a space game, it makes the space game, it breaks that immersion where it's because you don't. Space is about being enlightened. It's about following the stars. It's about exploration, and especially Starfield. Like Starfield is the big thing is like you are part of this group called the Constellation. So you are an explorer. Like you become an explorer, and yes, you can become a pirate. You can become a space marine. You can become a space cowboy. Like you can become all of these things. But at its core, it is a game about exploration and it's a game about discovery. And when you put gender pronouns in the game and make them so you can pick them,
right,
it brings you crashing right back down to earth. Is how I
think.
feel.
I think the word that can sum up what your thoughts are is the escapism. Right? Why do we play video games in the first place? Well, it's to escape from whatever our current reality is, and for a lot of people, that current reality is just getting encroached by increasing politics of all sorts in our day-to-day lives. And a lot of us go to video games or media to escape those kind of things. And when that stuff starts creeping its way in more and more, whether you agree or disagree about it, it's just the fact that real life stuff that you're trying to get away from is breaking the immersion more and more regularly. That's where a lot of the issue lies, is what I've seen. It's like I play Starfield or I boot up Ahsoka because I don't want to think about the problems of modern society. I don't want to think about, stepping on eggshells, if I'm going to offend somebody. I want to go to space. I want to go on an adventure. I want to invest in some characters. And when that politics stuff just starts sliding in, it's frustrating to say the least. And then you get meltdowns like that one guy, and his whole argument was like, yeah, it's just breaking the immersion. I don't want this.
Exactly. And like I have no problem with them putting a gay character in the game, like fine. But like it is what it is. Now, it's just like I don't know. It's kind of in the same route as like when Rings of Power was like, oh hey, we cast this this dwarf queen essentially, and she doesn't have a beard. And so then they had to go in and they like had to pay someone off to change the Lord of the Rings wiki from the Tolkien response of like most dwarven women had beards because that's what Tolkien wrote, to some women had beards so that they could justify putting a character in that didn't have a female character that didn't have a beard. It's just like, really, guys? Like, come on.
Mm-hmm.
Just why? To that point though, again, like you're saying, like too, like Star Trek has always had episodes too where you can obviously see the parallels with like modern day, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's not like, that's not the problem. The problem is when you heavy-hand it, you know. So anyways, I'm gonna not keep ranting on. All I'm gonna say is I have played, it came out, the early access came on Friday.
Your immersion was broken when you heard the pronoun stuff? Are you like on the same side as that one guy? I mean, obviously he took it to an extreme and he was like super upset, which is kind of, I mean, a little ridiculous to take it that far. But
for me, I understand.
Did you just see it and move on like most people, or were you like, I'm gonna seethe and rage over this online for clout?
I understand his reaction.
It's easy to just ignore and move on.
Exactly. So that's the point. I understand his reaction. I totally get it. Like, it makes
me too.
Fine. Like, I get that, because we've been so inundated with all of this stuff that it is about it's about time that someone snapped. And he snapped because it was just finally he came to his breaking point. I get that feeling. Right. I totally get that feeling. My brain didn't make that connection ever. And I think mainly because it is an RPG. So when I saw the pronouns, my brain didn't go, oh, because I created, I didn't even look at the pronouns, actually, because I created a dude character. When I went to the pronouns section, it had already selected he, him. I think it would have had a problem if it had auto selected they, them. You know, like because
then it's forcing you to do this.
Yes. If I had made my character, and then when I went to the name creation, it said they, them, and I had to actively go and click, I would be like, okay, well, they're trying to force me to click, like they're trying to force me to have a they, them, and not, whatever. To that point, if that had been the case, then fine. But like, I even switched the character to female, and when I went to the name character, it auto selected she, her, So like, that part didn't bug me. The part that has bugged me over I now have like 28 hours played in the game so far. I looked at my Xbox thing.
Impressive. It came out Friday, right?
Yeah, it said a day. It said a day and a half that I had played. And I put another like 3 hours into it today. I've almost finished the main campaign.
All right. I'm rolling.
The thing that's bugged me the most so far is that in the first 24 hours of play, you meet 5 or 6 companions, right? Because it's an RPG, it's a Bethesda RPG as well. Like, you meet companions, you have these people that are on your ship and everything.
Right.
In those 24 hours of play, having met 6 to 7 companions, 3 of which are female, 3 of which are male, and I think one's a robot, right? So pretty just basic choices, right? Sure. In those first 24 hours of play, I was given the option to flirt with all of the dudes 4 to 5 times each one, because I had to hang out with them for like specific missions. Right. I had the option to flirt with like all of the dudes 3 to 4 different times as a chat box to pick in my RPG. Right. Whereas in that first 24 hours, only one female came up to flirt, to like have a flirt chat. And that happened, I kid you not, in like the 23rd hour. And so it's like, that's what annoys me the most, because it's like, okay, so what? Bethesda, do you want me to play a gay character? Like, I get, like, I don't have a problem. Like, if you want to play a gay character, fine. But like,
right.
It's you're pushing somewhere. You're actively leading me somewhere. This is not. It's not like a. I don't know. It was just really mind-boggling that happened. That was.
That's a pretty good example of it just being like in your face and unavoidable at that point. I mean, yes, you can click a different option that doesn't skew towards, non-binary or whatever. You can press an option that would not go down a flirtatious route, correct?
Yes. Oh yeah. It's not like I had to flirt. Like I could just be a friend essentially, and that's fine. That was fine. My issue, at the end of the day, my issue was just like, you could just as easily give the same amount of opportunities to both sides. It's not that hard.
I mean, like, is the workaround just like having an option for the entire game to either give you those responses or not? Like,
well,
when you're doing your character creation thing, just check a box and say, "I don't want to flirt with men." I mean, is that
there does not have to be an option that it has to be out of the game. Like, I don't have a problem it showing up. My issue was that I had to work so hard to get that one flirt notification on the one female character. I literally had to work so damn hard, and every dude that box popped up, I wasn't even trying. Okay, let's be honest though, that may be a completely different something. I may just that just may be my own personal choices that I'm just like, hey, you know what? I'm just kind of like, I really suck at flirting with women.
Maybe the game knows something we don't know, Russ.
The game is trying to tell me I need to work on my game. It's what that is. That's what it's telling me. So yeah, that
Starfield
again, it's not that big of an issue. Yeah, exactly. It's not that big of an issue. I try not to make huge issues out of things like this, but it was something that I realized that I noted. It's something that my brain, I realized that my brain took note of, and when I'm playing something that I'm supposed to be immersed in, my brain should not be like, oh, noted.
Gender politics.
Great. Noted. Check. Interesting. That was the only thing that was the weirdest part for me. The pronouns thing, I didn't even realize it until that video went viral and I saw it on Twitter. So it is what it is.
Yeah.
It's a great game though. Holy cow, is it a good game?
It looks awesome. It looks really
so much fun. It's no Star Citizen, which is where that's the game on the PC that you can literally just there's no loading screens. You can fly into a planet, fly out of a planet and everything. It is a narrative. This is a narrative-based game. This is a narrative-based RPG. This is a Bethesda game. If you like Skyrim and you like Fallout, this is a game for you. They also did work on
tried playing Fallout New Vegas once.
They did work on the gunplay mechanics. Solid. I love the shooting. I think it's fun. The perk system is great. The graphics are cool.
It looks awesome.
The ship building is probably the most fun, and I haven't even delved into it hardly at all.
That's TikTok. What's really enjoyable for me to see is seeing people's ships. I've got all these Star Wars social media channels that I follow, and they're trying their hardest to recreate some of the ships.
I saw one,
the Falcon. I saw the Enterprise. I saw somebody trying to do the Razor Crest from the Mandalorian. There's another one. It was Eckhart's Ladder is a huge.
We have a third viewer. What's up? I wonder if
there we go.
Michael. I wonder if it's Michael. If it is Michael, if it is Michael, we shouted out Screen Rebel, even though it's the three of us in here.
Yeah, you got a new follower too right here.
Landon dropped a follow.
Absolutely, we gotta support our brethren out there.
But yeah, so it's a fun game. It's a good game. If you like that kind of stuff, you'll enjoy it. I had a lot
I
of
was
fun.
saying, Eckhart's Ladder, huge Star Wars channel on YouTube.
Nice.
He's been around the block for a while now. He was creating a bunch of ships because like a lot of his channel is focused on the shipbuilding aspect, the lore behind sci-fi ships and things like that. Mostly Star Wars, but he covers a lot of stuff. That stuff's cool, like getting to create your own ship and the level of detail that you can go into with your builds and things like that. That's a really cool aspect of it.
Yeah,
I'm not big on games that have that amount of what's the word, like opportunity. I get anxious with that much possibility at my fingertips. You know what I mean? So I tried to play Fallout New Vegas one time. I couldn't do it just because there's too much power for me. I was like, I spent like hours on the character creation, didn't even like get into story. When I'm faced with so many decisions like that,
so
I get lost and I
funny story to that. So I started playing. My roommate Brendan was watching me play, and I got him hyped on the game. Right, so he got the game. Nice. He's never played an RPG in his life. And Saturday, we're both playing. He's playing in the living room, and he kept coming into the room, my room, and being like, "Hey, dude, I need your help because I don't know what the hell I'm doing." And, and it was just like, and it was just funny because I was like, "I understand. I get it. Like, believe me, I get it. I get it."
It's a lot. It's you're thrown a lot in those games, and I just give me something where, like, yes, I'll have customization, or I will have, power over where I put my stats and things, but just give me I don't know. I just want to play the game that's on rails and experience it like for myself. When I am in the decision-making spot, I am like just overwhelmed. Almost.
And that's why I will say, like, with RPGs, I tend to mainline the story because the story's really good, but it also keeps me on track. And I'll do a couple side missions on the side here or there, but like I really focus because then I can always come back later,
I was even overwhelmed with like KOTOR. I tried playing KOTOR last year because it's like a huge Star Wars thing, and as like a huge Star Wars guy,
you would not like World of Warcraft.
No, like just those kind of games in general are not really my bag. But
that's funny,
and I know all the lore of KOTOR already, so like I know it. But I tried. That's all I can say is I tried.
But so to that point, talking about Star Wars,
cool. People like it though. It seems very popular. I mean, it looks like it's doing well. It's getting reviewed very well too.
It's getting reviewed very well, and like it's also nice for me right now because I don't have a PC, so I don't have the ability to play Baldur's Gate 3, which is the game I wanted to play. I wanted to play so bad because it's literally like D&D if it's a video game, and I've been on a D&D, just craving it. So it's been nice to be part of the conversation of a game that is just so good and so popular.
And seems finished like in an era where
crunch is there's still bugs and everything, but like it's one of the more polished Bethesda launches, which is a good thing, but it's also like one of those things that you still have some bugs, but they're hilarious bugs. Where it's like you're talking to you're talking to an NPC. You're talking to an NPC and you're not like, it's not like you're stuck in a cutscene or anything, but like all of a sudden they're just melting through the floor. And then by the time they're like done with their conversation, they're no longer there. They just kind of they just kind of melt.
Some random voice from the ether.
Yeah, they just melted.
Even tell where...
Exactly. They just melted through the floor, and now you're like, oh, cool. I'm just gonna continue doing my thing. Like, all right, cool. So yeah, good game.
It's funny.
It's a lot of fun. It has me on a very sci-fi space kick. I finished one of Amazon Prime or one of Apple TV's space shows, and now I started another one called The Foundation. It's based off of a book series.
It's either you finished or started The Foundation.
Yeah, and well, I finished For All Mankind, which I talked about a couple times on the show back in the day, because I was hooked on that show.
Yeah, that one's got Rick
It
Flag
has
from
it has
Suicide
the guy
Squad.
who it has the guy
What's
who
his
plays Rick
name?
Flag in it. I
Not
do
Jai
not remember.
Courtney, but
Something. It's with a K. Like his last name's with a K. Was all I remember. But I am gonna start Foundation. I'm gonna start up Foundation because I actually
Speaking of
read the first book
sci-fi,
I read the first book in high school. But speaking of sci-fi, let's talk about
hold
Star
on.
Wars. Oh,
I was gonna say, in the spirit of like keeping things tight, we're almost to an hour, right? So you want to just talk Ahsoka next week?
Well, what we can do is let's just give our initial thoughts. Because I don't want to really dig into it too much, anyways.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's just give our initial thoughts. What you think? What you've thought of the first two episodes? Because I have a lot of thought. I have some thoughts based off of what I've heard other people say about the first two episodes.
Yeah.
I love it. I enjoy.
I'm still looking for that guy's name, so you go ahead.
You're good. No, you're good. I've enjoyed this show.
I got it. Joel Kinnaman, Rick Flag. His name is Joel Kinnaman.
See,
yeah, he's in a lot of stuff. He's around a lot.
It was a guy.
He's great.
Okay. Yeah, he's great. There's like a cyberpunk show on Netflix that he was in the first season, and then Anthony Mackie was in the second.
Yeah.
They played the same character. That is a great I don't remember it now. That is a great show. Great show. I'm sad it got canceled. Because it's phenomenal. It was really funny watching Joel Kinnaman try to play an Asian dude, because that's literally what they're playing. And then watching Anthony Mackie, who's
Altered
a black guy.
Carbon.
Thank you, Altered Carbon, play an Asian dude.
Altered Carbon.
So that was really funny. Because they just got put into different skin suits, essentially. Dude, Star Wars is good. One of the things that I did not realize that is a topic of contention is that the first two episodes take place between they take place in the middle of the last episode of Rebels. So when you're watching Rebels, it is true, actually.
I don't think so.
When you're watching Rebels, in the prologue, when Ahsoka shows up to grab Sabine Wren, and Sabine walks up to the mural, it is a shot-for-shot recreation, other than the fact of what Ahsoka's wearing, is a shot-for-shot recreation of that scene. And so the idea, I think it's true, based off
it's supposed to be the Rebels finale.
It's correct? The Rebels finale. Yes, it's the Rebels finale. It's essentially they literally pick up right where Rebels decided to leave off.
Mm-hmm.
The only issue to that is from what I've been hearing, is I don't know if it paid off for them, because in the same way that WandaVision's first two episodes were so utterly different from the rest of the show, and how jarring a lot of people reacted to that, I think this is the same thing. I think the first two episodes of Ahsoka are slow. They're supposed to be a slow burn, because essentially what they're doing is you're picking up the story, but also then continuing the story at the same time. So it's a lot of setup. That's why they did the scroll. That's why they brought the old school prologue scroll back.
I like that. That was a nice touch.
Which was a really nice touch.
Star Wars.
It worked for me. It worked. The first two episodes worked for me, but I'm also a person who watched all of Clone Wars 3 different times and watched Rebels twice all the way through.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's funny. I know somebody at the porch that watched some of Clone Wars, but not enough to like really appreciate the character of Ahsoka. Watched none of Rebels, has only really seen all the episodic films like 1 through 9, and maybe like Rogue One. Casual Star Wars fan, great guy. We need somebody like him to get input from, because those are the kind of people that for Disney, Disney's perception, they need to get those kind of people, because they know that the diehard Star Wars fans are going to be checking this stuff out. But It's
well,
those
and
casual
that's what I'm
fans
saying.
that
Like,
they really need to latch onto and hold onto that viewership. That's a huge portion of the demographic that need to hold on to.
so the main producer at where I work, he and I have been talking about it because he watched the first 2 episodes. He didn't watch the third. He is not impressed with the first 2 episodes. He was like, dude, I fell asleep like 3 different times. He was like,
I
there.
see
He
all
was
the
like,
same
he was
problems
like,
from The Mandalorian and Kenobi. All the same problems are there.
oh
It's
yeah,
just
for
I
sure.
think there's more new ideas and fresh ideas. Fresh being the key word. It's like those fresh ideas, Balin and Shin and
Yes.
Morgan Elsbeth and just that enemy faction. You know, we're not doing Rebels v Empire anymore because that's so tired at this point. It's just the fact that we have some new ideas on display. That's the big hooker for me. I still see a lot of those same problems. The clunky dialogue, the slowness, and almost some of the wooden, I don't want to say acting because we have talented actors and they can.
True.
It's just like there's something about the production level. Everything is so exact and stilted. It's like there's no freeform ideas or movement on set. It's just like everything is okay. You have to say this, and you have to do this while you say it, and it just feels like there's what's the word I'm looking for, Russ? It feels like there's no improv like on set. You know what I mean? It just feels like everything is so.
There's no give and
there's
take.
like that.
I feel like
there's that kind of quality to all of these Star Wars shows. I feel like, and that is
I agree. Like it is, and I think that's where that's where season 1 of Mandalorian was so different because it's a character we'd never seen before, so they had to do all of the normal setup for a character that nobody had ever seen before. So then once you're already established with that character, then you start seeing all of that, exactly what you said. Dude, I don't know. It's a weird place to be in because it's like, it's.
The kicker for me too.
Some of it has to do with the fact that they are making these shows. They are not making these shows for kids. They are not making these shows for young adults. They are not making these shows for teenagers. They are making these shows for like this fan base, our fan base, like the 20 and older fan base, that super nerd. So we're okay with that stilted dialogue because a lot of it's full of Easter eggs. It's full of, oh, this is what they're hinting at. Like, perfect example. Nobody has explained the idea of the heir to the Empire, and yet they keep talking about it like it is this holy grail that they are looking for. Nobody knows who the hell Thrawn is, but somehow all of these characters are talking about him with such reverence that we're supposed to care. And like, if I'm not a super fan, if I'm not somebody who's watched Rebels,
Thrawn
nobody cares.
Yeah. And so far in the show, at the time of recording, we're 4 episodes deep at this point. Thrawn has not shown up. He's not done anything. It's just been all talk. But to your previous point, yeah, I do feel like, Dave Filoni especially makes his shows for the diehard fans. There's so much talk about Starfield.
But the difference is Dave Filoni knows how to direct. Like he obviously knows how to craft a story.
And he also knows what Star Wars fans want to see. Yeah. However, when it comes to Disney, I think their big problem with the Star Wars franchise in particular is they are not just catering to the Star Wars fans. They are trying to make a product that is accessible to everybody. They're trying to hit every demographic. They're trying to make a product that is for kids, but also for the Star Wars fans who are older. They're trying to win back the classic, like when Star Wars came out in the 70s and 80s. Yeah. Those people who were teenagers then and the diehard Lucas fanboys, like they're trying to get them. They're trying to get new people in. They are trying to get the people who are on the fence and casuals. They're trying to make a product that is for so many people. But in the process of doing that, they just make something that's not really anything.
And they have turned into a jack of all trades, master of none.
Yeah, and there's just there's no identity because you don't commit to one thing or the other. You're trying to make a product for everybody, and there's just no commitment to any one idea because you can't commit to this thing or else you'll lose these people. And it's like these projects just end up becoming nothing. And I think Ahsoka has done the best so far at this. It does seem to have its own identity. Like Mandalorian fell off really bad because it got very popular very quickly. And I think they realized they had a hit and they're like, wow, we have to make this successful to everybody. And you lost the story, you lost the plot, you lost the directing, the directing style that made The Mandalorian interesting in the first place. You start cutting corners in terms of technology and things.
They kept Bryce Dallas Howard, and like, to be really honest,
and there's some bright spots.
Those are always the best episodes, anyways.
She's got great episodes. She's got a great, I think she's very confident behind the camera. You have bright spots, but on the whole, a lot of these projects from Disney for the streaming service in particular just end up becoming nothing. I mean, look what happened to Secret Invasion. What a mess. What a travesty that was. And it had such a good idea. It just ended up being nothing because
and in that case, like
you can't commit to being cinematic because this is not a format for the cinematic.
Yeah, it's not a movie. It's not a movie.
Because you're detracting from the film audiences by not putting it in theaters, by making it a streaming thing. But then you detract from the strengths of television by trying to make it more cinematic. That's what I'm saying. It just ends up being nothing. It's like they still haven't figured out.
That's the one thing Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. did so well.
The format.
It knew it was a TV show.
Yeah.
And it worked.
I think the focus should always be on the movies because that's where you make the most money in terms of
streaming is the future.
Streaming is the future, but I think there's an argument that it just leads to dilution of the brand. Look at Kenobi. I mean, it's tanking it. Star Wars wasn't a bad spot. I think Ahsoka is a step in the right direction. I'll say that. I'm happy with it.
Yeah, I agree. I think Ahsoka is definitely a step in the right direction. I think the Marvel and Star Wars fatigue that we are feeling is because it feels like, and I think this is a overall comment on the industry. The industry feels like it has no good ideas anymore. It has no original ideas anymore. It is just, hey, let's reboot an old franchise. Let's remake an old franchise. Let's redo this. Look at how the sequel series started out. It's like, no, we don't have a good idea. We don't have a new idea. We're just literally going to remake A New Hope.
That's where a lot of it started.
Like, guys, like, come on. Like, and like, we're hearing news, and we'll close out here in a minute. We're hearing news that Marvel is deciding that with Avengers 6, which is going to be Secret Wars, that they're going to reboot the whole entire universe and recast.
It's good. It's good thing.
Captain America and Iron Man. It's a great thing. I just really hope that like they actually can be good movies because like, James Gunn is getting his opportunity to reboot the universe and start fresh. And good for him. We need it. But
they're still holding on to some things though, which is very strange.
As long as hey, you know what? The big win, they're not holding on to Ezra Miller. So
no, that's a good thing.
Winner, chicken dinner.
Holding on to like Blue Beetle was made before James Gunn even came into the picture, but they're still trying to use that as a launching pad. It's just
it's not a launch
Gal
pad.
Gadot
It's
as
like a
Wonder Woman. It's just like either reboot the thing or
I don't think
what you got. It's just
I don't think Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman is going to happen. I don't think Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman is going to happen. I think
probably not. But
I
mean, if they were smart, they'd start from the ground up, which is what I thought they were doing. But as we go on, it's just like no.
So they are like, dude. But like, here's the thing: Blue Beetle makes like there was no connection to the universe. Like Blue Beetle has no connection to anything because all it was supposed to be an HBO Max movie. That was all. Mm-hmm. It wasn't even supposed to go out on theaters and everything. So like the fact that that's going to be connected, fine. Because honestly, like from what I saw, I was like, all right, cool. It looks like it could fit. Like, sure, whatever.
Yeah.
Like he'll pop up. It'll be nice to like they've already introduced the opportunity to have Ted Cord come in. So like then the opportunity to have Booster Gold and Blue Beetle, like the original Blue Beetle, show up as in a James Gunn style movie would be hilarious. I think the things that they are keeping, it makes sense because they were never connected to the other universe anyways. Wonder Woman won't happen. I guarantee you Wonder Woman won't happen because they're not going to want an older Wonder Woman popping up when Superman is so young. Batman is going to be so young when he ends up popping up. Well, he's not going to be so young because he's going to have his son Robin.
Right.
But he's going to be
younger. We could have a whole episode talking about the state of DC in general, but
and that's the thing. Like we can't really. Like it's all speculation right now. Like that's it. That's all it is. And like it's not. It's like once we start to see some of that James Gunn stuff,
the strikes, we're gonna be waiting for a while.
True.
But anyways, I just think that when you have the opportunity to start from the ground floor, and because the thing about the future of the MCU, will we actually get a reboot? I think that would be the smartest thing that they can do, because look at all the characters and new worlds and ideas you can play with, as opposed to when, in 2008, when Jon Favreau and Downey, started with Iron Man, they didn't have access to Spider-Man, Ghost Rider, Fantastic Four, the X-Men.
Yeah. They also had grounded villains too.
Think about what the next 20 years of Marvel movies could look like, starting from the ground floor. But at that ground floor, you have everybody to play with. You could recast Iron Man and Cap, but like the focus could now be on the Fantastic Four and the X-Men. And then you introduce Spidey and Iron Man and Cap. Like Iron Man and Cap were the focus of the last phase, but like the MCU was their focus. Now we can focus on the X-Men, but still have Cap and Iron Man later down the line. You just have a chance to do things differently. And if they just reboot every now and again, like that's what the comic industry does, to varying degrees of success. But
I heard
if handled correctly, it could just breathe new life. And with that will come success in box office. It's true. That's how I heard it.
I heard an interesting take, and with this will be done. I heard an interesting take where they should reboot, when they reboot the Marvel universe, they should reboot it fully as an animated universe and just stick to animation. And I'm not opposed.
I think it's too big of a property at this point. I think you lose out on a lot of money if you don't do something live action.
I mean, look at Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse. Look at Ninja Turtles.
True.
Animation has proven that you can do big budget in the animation space.
Yeah.
And it also allows like, here's the other thing. It also cuts out the Marvel fatigue and the Star Wars fatigue that we've been talking about, because one of the biggest gripes about that fatigue is how crappy the CGI looks nowadays.
Yeah.
And give the reboot an opportunity to hand it to animators and be like, hey, go wild, go nuts. Like now you can do whatever the hell you can think of when you think of like, oh, Ghost Rider or Spider-Man. You know what? We're not going to try to do this grounded villain. We're going to do the most whatever over the top villain you can think of. Perfect. Let's go.
Yeah.
So with that, ladies and gentlemen, we come to a close on this very impromptu tech test. Making sure all of this works.
Oh, did you change Ahsoka's spelling? It's correct now.
I did. That's the nice part. I can edit things.
Oh no, Russ.
What?
It's still spelled wrong.
It probably is. Nobody's here. Nobody's looking. It's fine. I'll just edit it after the fact. Let's see.
It's AHSOK.
Yeah, it is.
It's Ashoka.
Ashoka.
Third time's the charm. Listen, tech tests. We're still we're back, but we're not
back.
perfect
we're
yet.
Back.
We're gonna get better at this.
Exactly.
And next episode we'll have more structure to it. This was still kind of our old structure.
Ladies and gentlemen, this was a tech test. We wanted to. We've been wanting to talk about some of this stuff, so we decided, screw it. Let's do something like this. And
no shortage of things to talk about.
There's plenty to talk about. And I'm excited to be back on this. So I will never. Thanks, Mike. Jeez.
This hashtag Ashoka.
Oh gosh. Thank you. So with that, peace out. Thank you. And we'll talk to you guys later.
Thanks, guys.
End stream.